Well, the reason is obvious. They're trying to delegitimize Trump administration as it goes into the White House. They are trying to say that President-elect Trump is not a legitimate president.
All right, that was my interview with Julian Assange yesterday at the Ecuadorian Embassy, hour 2 of the Sean Hannity Show. Happy New Year, by the way, to all of you irredeemable, deplorable people in this audience. God bless you all in the year 2017. This will be one of the toughest political years on record. That I can guarantee you. Joining us now, he's been a great friend all throughout this year and, of course, into next year, is former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and congratulations. What a coup.
You know, thank you very much. Look, if you ask me, I'll let you interview me in this as part of the interview. If you ask me if I believe him, the answer is unequivocally yes.
Wait. If I'm getting an interview, I want to start at the beginning. When did you know you could get in, go to the Ecuadorian Embassy, and have this kind of an in-depth conversation with him?
We'd been working on it all throughout my vacation. I needed 100% confirmation, and that meant confirmation from the Ecuadorian Embassy that they would let me in. Julian Assange had agreed to the interview 2 weeks prior, and then we had to work out the final details. So I left Miami on, what night was it? I guess on Saturday night at midnight. No, Saturday night at 9 p.m. Sunday night at 9 p.m. Arrived 10:30 a.m. local time in London yesterday. Really 11 a.m. It was about a half hour late getting in. Did the interview at 1 after taking a quick shower. Then went back to the airport and flew home and got home about 9 o'clock last night. So
that is a quick turnaround.
It was 16 hours in the air and 6 hours on the ground in London.
So if you're going to do an interview that is this important and that covers this much ground, how do you organize? I mean, you must have had, even as smart as you are, you must have had a set of organized questions that you knew you wanted to walk through. As far as how long did you work on that?
Well, pretty much the entire 8 hours going over. I didn't sleep.
That's amazing.
And then then here's the best part. He was very generous with his time. I think we had filming time of an hour and 20 minutes. The problem for me on TV tonight is condensing it down to an hour. And then we'll run some more tomorrow night and ask you for commentary on it.
Well, it's just, when I first saw the initial clips, I thought, this is a really terrific coup on your part to have the opportunity to get into the embassy, to interview this guy who's world famous, and to do it on a topic that could hardly be timelier. I mean, somehow, nobody's really gotten to the heart of the whole WikiLeaks system, and yet it's vivid proof that we don't have cybersecurity, we have cyber vulnerability.
Well, I think the two things, if we would learn the lesson from Julian Assange, that's one of the lessons I picked up. We have no cybersecurity. Countries are waging cyber warfare against us. That's number one. Number two, I think he exposed a level of corruption that none of us could have imagined with the John Podesta emails, like the corruption at the DNC, the collusion to stop Bernie Sanders, the collusion with the news media and the Hillary campaign. And I asked him numerous times, would he have also done the same thing if it was information on Donald Trump? And his answer was yes. I'll even tell you more. He said he's never spoken to Vladimir Putin or any of his surrogates. He's never spoken to Donald Trump or any of his surrogates, and that this information came to him. He would, on a usual basis, he has a policy. They don't reveal sources. They've never been wrong in 10 years in terms of what it is that they print. And he said, if people think this influenced the American election, it's only because people didn't like what they were reading about Hillary.
That's right. And interestingly, nobody has challenged the accuracy of what they have released.
Because it's accurate. Those were the emails. I mean, look, even pretty much the Democrats have acknowledged it's the emails. And look, you've been around government for a long time. Don't you think this is somewhat breathtaking and unprecedented? The collusion between the Democrats and the media in this country.
Sure. Look, there are so many pieces to this year that it's hard to imagine, even as somebody who writes novels, it's hard to imagine how you'd weave it all together and make it believable. I mean, how do you get the level of corruption that was inherent in the entire Clinton Foundation operation? How do you get a guy as smart as John Podesta writing some of the stuff he wrote? How do you get somebody as smart as Hillary Clinton firsthand on your show? You have this guy who's basically, isolated in the Ecuadorian embassy, can't leave, or he's going to be deported to Sweden and charged with a criminal offense of rape.
He made a very powerful defense of that charge. I mean,
I believe it, but he ain't gone home to do it in the court.
No.
My only point is, How can you have a guy, think about just this, if somebody came into a movie theater, company and said, I got this great plot. We're going to have this guy who is an internationally known cyber specialist locked up in a Latin American embassy in London, and he is going to wreck the front runner for the Democratic nomination and probable next president, and it's all going to be done online.
It is.
You could never sell that as a movie plot.
We have our good friend Bill Gertz. He has a brand new book out called I War. If we don't start paying attention to cybersecurity, we do so to our own peril. Because
that's exactly right.
Let me ask you this question. While I was away on vacation, I did print out an article that quoted you. I think it was this past Sunday on This Week, and it had you quoted as saying your biggest fear about the Trump administration is they may lose their nerve.
Right.
Tell me what you mean.
And no, I don't mean Trump himself necessarily. But when you try to tackle, and this happened with Reagan a number of times, he wanted to say, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall when he was in Berlin. The entire State Department opposed him. He had to put it back in the speech 3 times. When he finally insisted on it, at the breakfast the morning of his speech in Berlin, every senior staff person begged him to take it out. They said the wall's going to be there for 30 or 40 more years. The CIA thinks this makes no sense. The State Department thinks you're going to offend Gorbachev for no avail. And he just stubbornly stuck to his guns. Now, I think President-elect Donald Trump has the same nerve that Reagan did. But here's the difference. The scale of change that Trump wants is dramatically bigger than the scale of domestic change Reagan wanted. I mean, Reagan went in and he did certain very specific things, but he wasn't trying to reshape making America great again. He wasn't trying to reshape all of our different regulatory systems. He wasn't trying to get school choice for every poor child in the country. I mean, you look at Trump's goals, they're much bigger than Reagan's, and that means that an entire team, one of my thoughts is that he has to take this cabinet of winners, which he's assembling, and turn it into a team so that they are totally committed to working with each other, because they're going to come under so much pressure. The first day they walk into their cabinet offices, virtually every civil servant who reports to them will have voted for Obama and voted for Hillary. And that's what they're surrounded by. So when they say, what are my options? In phase 1, they're going to get junk. They're going to get people who don't believe in what they're doing.
They're going to be undermined by the professional politicians. And if you're paying very close attention, and I'd love to get your commentary on this, Obama seems to be putting up one roadblock after another. He's issuing one executive order after another, seemingly to block or turn hostile towards Donald Trump, and whatever smooth transition that he had promised is out the window.
Oh, sure. Look, we need to understand the left is engaged in a permanent war against us. You had this professor today who said that we need white genocide. You just go through item after item after item, and every time you turn around, you're gonna be hammered like this. And no one should forget, this is the capital city of the other team. It is their news media. It is their lobbyists. It is their bureaucrats. And so when you arrive here as a good government business person and you think, oh, this is all going to be, we won, now they're going to obey us. No. They're going to find every possible method to slow you down, to distract you, to convince you it's not possible. And that's why you have to be so relentless and so tough. And because, and I think this is a good thing, because President-elect Trump's goals are so lofty, because he really does want to make America great again, because he really does want to turn the economy around. I mean, he's going to have all of the Greens mad at him over EPA. He's going to have the teachers union enraged over school choice and the great job that I think that Betsy DeVos will do. He is going to have all sorts of left-wingers upset at the Department of Labor. He's going to have the 90% of the career Foreign Service upset at the State Department. I mean, all of these things are going to be surrounding him. And he's going to have a news media which just plain doesn't understand what he's doing and is opposed to the parts they do understand.
The funny thing is, Chuck Todd was making some comments this weekend. He talked about what he calls the sort of concierge media friends. I'm not going to name names, but we all know who they are. And then he tried to make the case that journalism of the mainstream media, quote, I thought was outstanding this year. And I'm thinking they missed everything about Donald Trump. They missed his winning. They never covered WikiLeaks. They covered for Hillary Clinton. his own network was exposed as colluding with the Clinton campaign. And he thinks they did a terrific job, an outstanding job this year.
Well, with all due respect to Chuck Todd, he is them.
That's true.
And yes, I have to start with that. These are people who are delusional. They are, and Charlie Murray's book, which you and I have talked about it before, Coming Apart, the opening sections of that book describe exactly who they are. They're people who live in an isolated world. They honestly, sincerely believe that eliminating 33,000 emails wasn't a big deal. They don't understand why we made such a big fuss about her having a private server. They think that our picking on the Clinton Foundation is a sign that we're meanies, and it doesn't occur to them that raising money in 75 different meetings with Clinton donors in the State Department might be inappropriate. I mean, just go down the list. That Chuck Todd is at the core of this. And remember, it's people like Chuck, and I'm not trying to pick a fight with him, although I thought part of what he said Sunday was appalling. But it's people who are at the center of the system who then hire their successors. So if you go to a place like NBC or CBS and you want to rise, you better not walk in with a "Make America Great Again" hat on your head. That ain't gonna, you're not gonna last 2 long weeks.
Yeah, well, look at what's happening. Little things have happened and big things have happened. We know the carrier deal. We know the deal about $50 billion being invested and what, 30 million jobs created that Trump has made. Other companies have pledged they're going to keep their companies here in America. Ford just canceled the $700 million investment in Mexico for their small car applications. And now they're going to...
And by the way, on that one, I tweeted a few minutes later, it'll be interesting to see if any of the Michigan Democrats will vote for the Trump program. Because remember, Ford announces they're going to keep the jobs in the U.S. because they believe in the tax and regulatory reforms that Trump is talking about. Now, will any of the Michigan Democrats who claim they're pro-jobs, any of them, vote for the Trump program?
How could you possibly vote against it when a state like Michigan needs those jobs desperately? And how do I know? The last time I went to Michigan, it looked like the aftermath of Katrina in New Orleans, where block after block after block, neighborhood after neighborhood had been abandoned. And they're talking about literally bulldozing entire neighborhoods for consolidation of services. It's gotten so bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, this is the great crisis of where we are. And I think, and I'm writing my newsletter today about this whole notion of whose table are we negotiating at. I think that Trump has to have his table of his ideas and then invite any Democrat who's willing to work on these to join him in a bipartisan effort.
All right, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, we will be with you tonight on Hannity. Our Julian Assange interview airs as well. Hope you'll join us soon again here on the program. First 100 days are going to be fascinating. Thank you, sir.
It's going to be great. Take care.